Hello, and welcome to the Adrienne Ross Show. And I'm Adrienne, and thank you for tuning in. Man, it's been a minute since we have chit-chatted. I'm glad to be with you again. I won't even get into why it's been so long. I just want to use our time to talk about today's topic. Brittney Griner. Now, if you were not familiar with that name before February, surely since February, you have been familiar with the name Brittney Griner, the WNBA player, the WNBA star, if you will, who is being detained in Russia for being busted with drugs. The United States is using the terminology wrongfully detained. They're saying that Brittney was wrongfully detained and is wrongfully detained. Now, they had the trial. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 9 years. That blows my mind. I mean, 9 years being locked up anywhere, even in the United States, is just 9 years too many. But 9 years in Russia, in their prison, my goodness. Well, the United States apparently is in talks with Russia, and they're discussing some kind of exchange of prisoners, and that has brought about quite a bit of discussion. And I'm not going to spend time on that today, but I know that there are people who feel that, man, if it was just your regular Joe Schmo or Jolene Schmo, there wouldn't be these kinds of negotiations. But because she's this WNBA player, then now we're talking about releasing her. Or there may be even some who say, well, they're just doing the politically advantageous thing because she's a gay woman. You know, she's married to a woman, and, you know, Biden and his administration, you know, they always want to cozy up to that, voting bloc, et cetera. I don't know, and I don't even really want to get into that today. What I want to talk about today is, first of all, my heart truly goes out to Brittney Griner. I pray for Brittney Griner's release. And when I say I pray for her release, I literally pray for her release because it just breaks my heart. Now, I will say this. We've got to be smart and know that we can't, excuse my bad English, but we can't be going over to these other countries and quote unquote acting a fool. I mean, these people, you don't know what you're messing. I don't want to be messing with these foreign people. I don't want to be messing with Putin. I don't want to be messing with Russia. I don't even want to go over there. Okay. Because it's just off the hook. Okay. When I say off the hook, I'm not dismissing any crime that she committed. I'm saying that you should know that you can't be going over there and having this stuff on you and all that. I don't know what their story is. I don't know all that. I know that she pleaded guilty. And I know that as far as talks go concerning her release, it was the plan. It was known that she would have to go through the trial, and that I guess that she would plead guilty, and then there would be these conversations about an exchange of prisoners or what have you. I don't know, but I know this. I ain't trying to go over nowhere, God help me, and then not know what their laws are or to disregard their laws or whatever. I don't want to be over there in Russia at the mercy of those people or anybody. I really don't. But there she was, and here she is, or there she is at this point. What I am talking about today, as I said, I'm praying for Brittney because it just blows my mind, the thought of it. But I want to talk about something I mentioned on social media in recent weeks. Because, see, if you don't know the background, Brittney Griner is one of those who has this thing about or against America, I guess. You know, she, you know, and you see this, of course, we've been seeing this in sports over time, over a few years, where these players, you know, don't want to be out for the national anthem. They either come out after, or they come out and warm up, and then they go back for the national anthem so they don't have to be there, and then they come back out, and all this stuff. Everybody's got a problem with America. Even, you know, I mean, the WNBA players aren't getting most of the players aren't getting rich off of playing. They're playing for the love of the game. But you got these other athletes in the NFL and there's, you know, all this stuff, you know, the deal, who want to have a problem with America. And I always say it's bogus because, number one, especially these male athletes, they're making incredible amounts of money and they've got incredible opportunities. And then they want to whine and complain about America. And none of them seem to be trying to leave here. So, I've made my point about that. Now, Brittney Griner, among those people, obviously, who has a beef, shall I say, had a beef with the United States, and was outspoken that she didn't believe the national anthem should be a part of the athletic event. She didn't want that to be the case. She didn't think that it should be. And, I'm like, okay. Now, though, she had written a letter to President Biden because she wants his help to bring her, quote, home. And look, I'm not trying to kick a person while the person is down. You know the expression. But I said a few weeks ago or so on social media, I said, I wonder if Brittney Griner would like to hear the national anthem now. I wonder, because see, now it's home. Now it's, can you bring me home, Mr. President? But before, it obviously wasn't homey enough for her to respect our national anthem. Right? She was among those who had a beef with the national anthem, who wants to protest the national anthem, wants to protest our nation, which is, shall I say it again, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Does not mean that we're perfect. I don't know why we have to say that. We always have to throw that out. We have made mistakes along the way. We do make mistakes even now, but it is the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And I wouldn't trade it for one day in Russia or anywhere else. And I'm sure Brittney Griner is saying the same thing. So while I'm praying for her, part of my prayer is that her eyes would be open on many levels, and her eyes would be open on how blessed she is to be in America, to have been in America. Right now, she's in Russia, sentenced to 9 years. But I do pray. I hate the thought of I can't even imagine being in a Russian cell, away from your family, away from, your quote unquote home, which I guess she's calling it now. Now, there was a time in my life, I'm just going to be honest and say this. There was a time in my life when I did not want to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay? A long time ago, I kind of got caught up in this idea that America has a history of being unfair and this and that. And I got caught up in all that. And I was never disrespectful and, I never hated my country, never was going to sit down when the pledge was being recited. I just stood up and I just didn't say it. I don't even know how long that lasted, but there was that time in my life when I was into that whole thing, but it doesn't take long, at least for me. And it doesn't take much to see that we are blessed here in this country. I said that to say, you know what? Okay, so Brittney Griner, maybe she was going through a phase. Maybe she was going through a phase. I don't know. But I pray, for me, it was the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know what her deal was if she had a issue with the Pledge of Allegiance, whatever. But we do know about the national anthem because that's what goes down at these games. And that's what she said she didn't think should happen. And so maybe she's going through a phase. I don't know. But my prayer is that her eyes would be open to recognize and not get caught up in a lot of the hoopla. And I'm not saying again that America is perfect. That's not true. But I am saying that, a lot of the things that people are constantly complaining about and wanting to keep going and egging on, it's a game for many people. It's deception for some people. And, and we need to wake up and we need to be saying, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus, that I get to live in the greatest country on the face of the earth. And I just have a feeling that Brittney Griner would not mind saying, singing, reciting, praying, whatever you want to say. Not praying. We don't pray the national anthem, but you get my point. She wouldn't mind. I have a feeling saying that national anthem now. If she could just be back into this country. If she could just get back to the United States. And that's what I want to say. We've got to be thinking about what it is we're protesting, what it is we're complaining about. Because when the rubber meets the road, she's not saying, you know what, I am so glad that Russia has detained me, because that United States, man, that's a bad place to be. I didn't even want to do the national anthem. Why would I do the national anthem for the United States? Oh, man, I'm so glad to be out of here. No, she's writing letters to the president. She's saying, get me out of here. Okay? She's saying, I want to be back, quote, home. See, now it's home. And all those people egging this stuff on with these athletes or these Hollywood stars or all these people who think and act like they think America is the worst place on the worst planet. And, come on, please. So I just, Brittney Griner, that's the WNBA player, stuck in Russia, sentenced for 9 years. What's going to happen, whether these trades are going to take place or whatever, I don't know. Again, I know that there are people who are saying, you know what, there are other people who are detained and there's no talk about them. There are people locked up in America for drug use. Are we going to release them? Again, there's a whole conversation about that. And, and that's, I guess, for another time, another place. I'm not really into getting into that today. Today, I'm getting into, what? Home is where the heart is. And apparently, Brittney Griner's heart is in America. And so now she's willing to call it home. And now she's begging for help to get back here. And I pray that she does. I pray that she is able to get back home, get back to America. I really do. I literally pray for Brittney Griner. But I also pray that there would be an awakening, that she doesn't come back here with the same nonsense. But I have a feeling, people do, sometimes we do have short memories, but I pray that her memory isn't so short that when she gets back here, she goes back to the same nonsense, but that when she gets back here, she recognizes some things that maybe she was not seeing before, being blinded to before. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans, we are blessed to be in America. We are blessed, and we ought to be thanking God regularly. That's why it's important to be involved in the process of what's going on in the nation. Here I am. I'm veering away from Brittney just a moment and saying it is so important that we care about what's going on. It's so important that we find our place in the fight for America, for preserving the fabric of who we are. It's so important that we are outraged at what took place with former President Donald Trump, and the raid of his Mar-a-Lago home. It's so important that we go, this is America. That should not be happening. Some of the things that we have seen going on, mandates and all kinds of stuff. We don't want to be any other country. We don't want to wake up one day and be some other people. And that's why we have got to fight, because there is a spirit that desires to suck the life out of what America is supposed to be. So we've got to fight for America so that it continues to be a place that people who are not able to be here or people who are detained elsewhere would want to come back. And we know Brittney Griner is one of those people. But we've got to be and maintain who we are, because we are the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And I don't say that in pride. I say that in humility and thanksgiving to God, to our Creator. I wish Brittney Griner the best, and not just wish, I pray the best for her in every way in every area of her life. And I pray the best for us. God bless you. And God bless America. The Adrienne Ross Show was produced and edited in the BMG studio. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod. Find more episodes of The Adrienne Ross Show at thebmgnetwork.com and major podcast platforms. Be sure to tune in regularly. You don't want to miss even one episode.